Hello everyone and welcome back to the KMTRADERS channel. So this is the full market analysis volume 28. We are going to discuss some pairs that we've been trading over the week. We'll give you some updates as well and give you some future predictions. So we're actually going to leave gold, Euro USD, UJ and NZDJPY for tomorrow. I just want to talk about those separately. But for now we'll start off with the few remaining pairs and just give you an update per se for each one. Okay guys, so starting off with New Zealand dollar to the US dollar. All I've got here is some zones that I wanted to just make you just a bit understand a bit more. So I have 0.65 as a psychological level. So my projection for this pair is just ultimately rise up to the upside. So this is just a long-term analysis, but in terms of what we can see on the intraday level and how last week performed, we can see we've had a huge drop to the downside. This was pretty much a very strong sentiment in the market, so I won't be ignoring this move to the downside because we could have a continuation to the downside further. So I have 0.65 as a nice psychological level, and if we do break lower than that, I'll be convinced that we will need to update this pair just a bit more because we may miss something. So I still think that we are still in a bullish momentum, and potentially this is just the market taking a breather for say. So if we go lower than 0.65 or 0.648 just to be precise, we could be looking at more bearish momentum. So we could be just waiting for the retest of this zone here. If I just rake it a bit higher, the retest of this level, and we can just watch a continuation move into lower levels. But of course, we'll update this. But for now, I'm thinking that if we stay above 0.65, we could start to see momentum slowly make its way back up and creep up into 0.68. So that's pretty much where my head's at with this pair. Moving on to AUDUSD. So I'm looking at this in a bearish momentum just for the time being because I think that we are in a bearish correction. So what I'm saying is we could expect further decrease in this pair, so we could start to see momentum shifting, making its lower lows, etc. Obviously, we can see that huge sell-off from last week, pretty much in an oversold condition. So we could expect, price to stay within this range here. So between 0.64 and wherever this low makes, if we make a retracement from this point, we can use this 0.7 as a nice range to trade from. So I will be expecting price to eventually make a sideways move once this momentum to the downside has finished, and then we could pretty much see that the long-term picture and wait for the long move to the upside. So I still think that we could have a push further to the upside in the very long term. So this could be November to December time, but with the current market, I do think price is going to move sideways between these two big levels. So does that mean that we can't trade that? Of course not. This range, if we do reject from 0.7, that's still a 400 pip range. So we do have a lot of movements and pips to capture between these two ranges. So just keep this in mind. And yeah, we'll update this if anything changes with this pair. So we'll leave UJ for tomorrow. Euro JPY, I'm looking at this in a strong, well, not strong, but we can see that last week we had this huge area of consolidation here. Last week I was saying, I want to see price rejects the 618 fib, well, this is the 0.5 fib, but if we do go to the 0.618, that's the last resort in a way. But we can see how there's been a cluster of orders been around this level. So I'm curious just to see if it's partially due to where people have drawn their fib, because if we were to place it at this range here, we can start to see rejections, but nonetheless, it's not to worry. We can see that price action in relation to the fib, we could see some price build up here. So choppy price action here, and I'm thinking that we could start to see price rise and smash above into 127. So that's where my head's at with this pair. If we do make a further low and make a break lower, the absolute low that I'm thinking of is the last resort is around 119. So we do have a lot of leeway with this. So if there are any updates with this pair for a bearish momentum, then we'll see. But we can see that price is making its slow halt in its price action, and we see some divergence here as well come into play. So that's obviously good to see there. So hence why I'm thinking more of a long-term push if we can get some influx of orders there. So just keep an eye out for any long-term moves to the upside, and we'll see where we can go with that pair. So moving on to CADJPY, my resort to this is, I want to definitely see 77.6 being smashed straight through. I have a feeling that we could start to see price push even lower, way further than this. Even let's just wait for this to happen, and then we can discuss targets, because I want to make sure that price first reaches this before we give any other targets. But I want to see at least this low being tested and possibly broken through. If we do get some sort of retracement, I'm going to be a bit aware of that and give a possible alternative of direction if we go a bit higher or start to retrace this downwards move. But again, we'll have to wait and see. AUDJPY, again, I'm pretty much looking at this in a downwards move. I'm just looking out for any rejections that we can see, because I'm waiting on a possible move to the upside. So we can see that the move to the downside was very strong last week, so I still think we could see this tank further. I will be keeping an eye out for any moves to the upside, because we could start to see momentum kick in, and I want to see in the long term, I want to see 85.5 being tested, push a lot higher, and see this reverse in the long run. But for the last resort for any bullish momentum, if we go below 72.5, that's when I'll consider selling options, and we'll have a look at reassess this pair. But if we do go lower than that, then we'll have to take a look at things again. But I still think we are still pushing higher. As long as we stay above 72.5, we should be all good for a long-term approach to the upside, so possibly into 79 as well. So moving on to the last two pairs, USDCHF. With this pair, we can start to see that bullish momentum now, as we wanted to see for this long time. What I was looking out for is this range being broken, which it has done. So we could start to wait and for a retest of this, and we could start to see possible moves to the upside. So nothing too difficult here to understand here, but I hope you can start to see that we were in a choppy sideways movement market, and price has broken to the upside. So we just wait for that retest, and we could see potential push to the upside. And finally, with USDCAD, same with this pair, we can start to see that push to the upside. So ultimately, we could just start to, if I drag this across, actually, just notice this now. We could be seeing a nice resistance level being formed here, but if we can get a break and close above this zone, it'll be a great way to look at this. Or we could get a push into this test, so 1.32, and then we could start to see another push to the upside. So pretty much I'm looking at this now in just a bit more of a bullish momentum until we start breaking this trend line. Then we'll have to reconsider things, but pretty much all I'm looking out for is just some sort of long-term bias to the upside and buying opportunities for that pair. So pretty much that's all I'm going to look out for today. We are going to discuss the other few pairs tomorrow, so keep an eye out for that. Make sure you're subscribed, obviously, so you get that notification from us. Again, if you do have a question for us, feel free to check our socials or links in the description. You can pretty much get in contact with us, and we'll get back to you as soon as we can. We do also have a trading group that you can join. The link is in the description, so if you want to check that out, it's in there as well. It's a Telegram group chat. Check it out. Feel free to join. And I definitely do hope it does bring you guys some value through your trading week, guys. So without further ado, if you made it all the way to the end of this video, thank you very, very much for listening. Appreciate you guys obviously checking in on us. And again, I hope this does bring you some value and gives you some tips through the next trading week, guys. So thank you very much for listening, guys, and see you all in the next one.